color analysis didn't just change how I dress. It opened up my entire world. It gave me confidence, clarity, and eventually a whole business built around helping other women feel incredibly beautiful in their own skin. And today I want to show you why it might be the missing piece in your style journey. Hey there, I'm Stacey Herndon. I'm a color analyst and style coach, and I've helped over 2,300 women feel confident and beautiful through personal style. The first time I ever heard about color analysis was over a decade ago, and I heard about it through a personality-based system, and I was really intrigued that we could express ourselves and our personality and who we are through color. And this was really appealing to me as somebody who is at heart a creative, and I found it really intriguing. But it wasn't until several years after that that I was introduced to seasonal color analysis. And when I discovered this, it really helped me to understand more than just personality and choice of color, why certain colors made me feel drained and really kind of blah, while other ones made me feel empowered and confident and just seemed to make me look better automatically. I've shared this story a lot, but I truly love the color lavender. It hates me with a virulent kind of nature. It is not flattering on me, and I spent so many years gravitating towards this light little purple color lavender and buying it and wondering why I felt so terrible when I wore it. But against conventional thought, I am definitely not a summer. I cannot wear pastels, and I do much better with darker, richer versions of purple. So I've learned now to just appreciate lavender from a distance, let other people enjoy it, and embrace the deeper purples as my best version of that color. So when I was building my own customized capsule wardrobe, I hit this point where I was really frustrated with my wardrobe. I just had another baby. Nothing really fit me correctly. I was only comfortable in dresses, and I wanted to build a capsule wardrobe made of just dresses. And everybody on the internet said, well, you can't do that. You have to have separates because you need variety. And me being who I am, I determined to prove them wrong. And that is actually sort of how my business started, was that I was just trying to solve my own wardrobe problems, and someone told me I should start a blog about it. And so I did. And when I started this process, the first thing I asked myself was, where do I begin? How do I start this process? What logically makes the most sense to me? And it was color analysis, because the fact that I had discovered color analysis, I knew my season, I knew what colors looked best on me, I knew which ones to avoid. This was a place where I decided to start my journey. And as I went through basic image consultant training, the information on color was really kind of scant. So I made it a personal mission to read literally every book that's ever been published on color analysis, in English anyway, to really dig deep and see all the different types of color analysis and the history of color analysis and all the theory behind it and all the different ways that people go about doing it. It's like obsessively researching, synthesizing it all into a really clear, comprehensive system that worked for me, that worked for my clients. And then I began offering services. And to date, I've done over 175 color analysis virtually for my clients. I think I've had about 2 people over that time email me back and say, you know what, I think you're wrong. One of them I looked at and I said, no, I'm pretty sure that I'm right. And the other one, I sent it back to her and I said, you know what, I think I was wrong about the subseason. I'm going to shift it over for you like this. And I also created a do-it-yourself color analysis course, which was the first of its kind when it was created. There are many more like it now on the market. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, I think, but this is a course, and this is the same exact process that I actually use with my clients to help them get results. And what makes it different has to do with the pre-draping indicators that we use to help you get the very best results. So if you've ever wondered whether color analysis is just another trendy concept or if it actually makes a difference, this video is going to give you clarity. I'm going to show you how color analysis is not just fluff and how it can elevate your style by 50% or more, even if you never learned another thing about style and didn't change anything else but just your colors. And you'll learn how discovering your best colors can immediately boost your confidence, truly simplify your wardrobe, and reduce that decision fatigue, that morning outfit struggle that you're having. And most importantly, when you feel beautiful and you feel aligned in your clothing, it creates momentum in every other part of your life, in your work, in your relationships, in your self-worth and self-confidence. Because color really is truly more than just a set of colors that you choose to wear. It really is your personal catalyst for transformation. In this video, I'm going to share with you how color analysis works, how to use color as a tool for your style, and the new future of color analysis. The simplest definition of color analysis is that it is a way to categorize you based on the attributes of your hair, eyes, and skin to differing degrees. And there are many different schools of thought on which one's more important and how relevant each one of those is to the process. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's usually your skin that determines where you fall on the spectrum of the 12 different seasons. As I mentioned earlier, some people do really well with light pastel colors, others do well with dark colors. Some people look really, really great in warm tones, others look great in very cool tones. And some people look great in bright neon shades, while others look so much better in grayed out colors. And I see this a lot in different style communities that I'm in, where people who are against color analysis will say, just wear whatever color you want. But I'm here to tell you that while that may be the anthem of freedom when it comes to style, there really is an energetic part of how colors affect you. Because it's not just about colors making you look better or look more attractive, because that is one of the things that happens, but it's really about helping you feel better. Because I know for myself and my clients, one of the things that comes up a lot is I'll have clients come through and we do their analysis, and for whatever reason, they're kind of attracted and attached to a different season. And a lot of times it's the color black or something along those lines. Or people will come through and say, I really prefer dark colors, and they end up as a light season. And so what I'll tell them is, you know what, there's no fashion police. I'm not the color analysis police, and I'm never going to tell you can't wear something, because I do believe that you should just wear what you want. But what I want them to do and what I challenge them to do is to go ahead and keep wearing those colors and start to notice a difference in how they feel, how their energy feels, how they feel they're expressing themselves, how their confidence level feels, wearing colors that are in their season versus colors that are not in their season. And what typically happens over time is they explore this concept, as they begin to realize that they do feel better in the more flattering colors. They do feel better in their color season. They tend to get more compliments, and not compliments like, oh, I really love that shirt, because that's really about the clothing, but compliments like, wow, you're really glowing today, because that's about you. And so while yes, you should always wear what you want, wear what brings you joy, you should also pay attention to how what you're wearing is making you feel on the inside. Because at the end of the day, if you feel confident in what you're wearing, it's going to come through in your interactions with other people. It's going to come through in how you live your life. But if you feel self-confident and you feel insecure, that's going to come through as well. And it's not going to give you the kind of life that you really want to lead. There's also this big argument about how in-person draping is the only way to find your color season. And I will go ahead and tell you that yes, in-person draping is the gold standard, is the most ideal way to find your color season. So in-person draping is typically done using a set of fabric drapes, kind of like these. And it's really great because the person can also see what's happening. Any color analysis, of course, is going to be limited to the eye of the analyst. And so that is always a factor, whether it's in person or virtual. But you can also see, and I'll give you a quick demonstration. I want you to note that I'm not in the most ideal lighting. So we'll take here, this is an autumn green, and I'll even take my glasses off for you guys to show you. So this is an autumn green. I don't usually do well in muted autumn colors. You can see that it turns my face a little bit yellow, right? So you can see that it's turning yellow. On the other hand, this is a winter green, and I am a winter. And you can see how my skin looks very clear now. I do not have a yellow cast anymore. If you're paying really close attention, you can see that I have a tiny bit of green in my eyes. And so this green will bring that out as well. And so this is the process. And you go through it and you check a bunch of different colors and kind of get an overall perspective of what they look like. And this is what an in-person draping does. And even with terrible lighting, you should be able to see the difference in just those two colors that I'm showing you. And the naysayers will say that you can't get an accurate analysis virtually because the lighting is off, or the photos are off, or the camera distorts things. And I will say that that can be very true, especially if you're using apps for those things and you have no one to guide you into taking the correct kind of pictures, then it's definitely something that you probably can't trust. But a good analyst, and I know that there are several out there that do great virtual analysis, will guide you to take the best pictures. They will communicate with you if your pictures are not adequate, and they will ask you to take more, and they will give you direction, just like we do with all of our virtual clients. Also, the way that I developed virtual analysis to work, we also use some different indicators before we get to the process of draping virtually, because we can narrow down some things using different indicators like personality to a very, very small degree. I have found 100% that different seasons, especially the big four seasons, have some different personality quirks, and it comes It comes through very obviously when I have, especially with my clients that I work with. Most of my clients that I work with tend to fall in, one half of the 12 season range because their personality is just the type that tends to mesh with mine because I'm a person that likes to go deep and really dig and help people figure out who they truly are. And I tend to attract clients that have a very similar personality. Many of my clients are either autumns or have a heavy autumn influence because the autumn personality type really does tend to want to go deep and dig deep and get the answers and really get things right. And I could say that about, I could give you an example for all of the 4 seasons, but that's just a short example of how personality characteristics do tend to correlate with seasonal influence. Another thing that we use in our analysis is eye pattern analysis, which is not very common, but I've also found that eye patterns are highly correlative with your final season. And when I say that, I would like to explain that kind of as a broad overview. So there are different types of patterns that you see in the eyes, and eyes are so interesting because they're just like fingerprints. Nobody has the same two patterns, and so they really are unique and individual and a way to get a baseline for kind of guiding us in the direction in the analysis when it comes to the draping. So this is a great example right here. So this person has several patterns in their eye. I can see a base that is a summer base. It's a little bit green, so the green in there kind of lends toward the olive green, lends toward autumn. The gold in there is sort of more of a spring influence, could be autumn. And then they have this floral ring around the top that tends to be a winter pattern. So this is a really interesting eye because it has all 4 seasons in it. And this eye would actually not be very useful for limiting our draping process later because the correlation that I found is actually that the first or second season is usually found in the eye. So I will explain that by saying in flow seasonal color analysis, if you are a deep autumn, that means you're an autumn leaning into winter. So in that case, I would expect to see an autumn pattern in the eye or a winter pattern in the eye. But if someone has 2 seasons in their eye, it still gives us a potential of 6 seasons as a final result based on my experience with this and seeing this come through in, almost 200 analyses now. But if they have 3 patterns in the eye, this process no longer works. But it is interesting to just look at the patterns of the eye because they do communicate the attributes. Some eyes are bright, some eyes are muted, some eyes are warm. If you see an hazel eye, there's typically an indicator there that there's some warm influence going on. And so this is one of the things that I take into account with every analysis that I do before I ever get to the virtual draping part to really help me get a broader sense of this person's overall coloring. And our reports, when we deliver them, are customized. I have seen other reports from my clients that have shared with me from other processes they have used. And a lot of times they are just stock reports. They've maybe gone in and put your photo in there, put a little circle around it saying, here's your color season, and then just copy pasted some information for that's the same for everybody. We actually don't do that. We actually take the time to go through and do the eye analysis and tell you about it. We tell you your personal attributes because for people that are struggling and maybe confused about 2 seasons, the answer is usually that they lie somewhere outside the norm in one of 3 areas of hue, value, and chroma. So we tell them exactly where they are on each of those 3 dimensions so that if they need to personalize their season a little bit, they have a way to do that. And then we create a custom color palette for them that shows them their very best colors because we would just want to go beyond. It's my belief personally that finding your season is just the beginning. And so I really hate it when an analysis says, here's your season, have a nice life, because that doesn't really empower clients to make changes. So when you can give someone more information, more tools, more help, it helps them to start off on a better foot. And it helps them to really take control of their colors and be their own stylist when it comes to choosing what's best for them. Which leads me into the next part of what I wanted to talk about, which is how to use this process as an actual tool. So what happens is you find your season, you're told your season, somebody tells you your season, you find your season, and there's a lot of variation in the industry, but overall, each season is going to, I pulled light spring, by the way, not my seasons, first one I grabbed, but you may get a color palette like this. It's going to have a whole lot of colors on there. And what tends to happen is that people get really excited about this process and they go a little bit wild and they start buying everything on this color palette. If they can find it, they buy it. And I love to tell the story of my assistant, Emily, because she says, I did this, Stacey. I found out my season and then I went on a crazy thrifting spree and I bought everything in my season. I didn't stop to think about what I was going to wear it with or if it was even my style at the end of the day. She said, I was just so excited. I just bought everything. And so what we typically have our clients do, it's one of the very first things we have them do is create a functional wardrobe color palette, which is usually 10 to 12 colors that they have chosen to really focus on. And we do this in a Canva template, and I have a free one I can link at the end of this video if you want to check it out for yourself. But what that might look like for our light spring example here. So we would choose four neutral colors. And I've had a couple light spring clients. They typically do like a navy. We would go with an ivory to have a light one. Maybe somewhere in the middle we would have a tan, and then we could go ahead and do a warm gray as well. So to start with, our light spring person would choose 4 neutral colors, as you can see right here. The next thing we do is choose signature colors, which are colors that are your wow colors. Often we can find these by dipping into a secondary color analysis process called color harmonies, which picks up colors in natural colors in your eyes, skin, and hair in specific ways. So we might choose a coral, and then maybe a teal color, and then maybe a warm green. So we'll just slide those together so that you can see what it looks like. Tuck these back here behind our neutrals. So at this point, our functional working color palette for our closet might look a little bit like this. We have our 4 neutral colors here, and then we have our 3 signature colors on this side. You could stop there, and for people who have a lean towards minimalism, this is often all they need, and they can run happily. But many people also want to incorporate accent colors, in which case you could choose 4 more colors that you would use as smaller accents, maybe jewelry or shoes or smaller inexpensive pieces, to really round out that color palette and give you a really nice set of variety for your wardrobe. And this color palette really becomes a lighthouse. It does evolve with you over time. I ask my clients usually to revisit this once a year to kind of see if they want to change anything, move anything around, if they're not wearing colors, if they want to reduce it, and have them just kind of check in with themselves, because we're always changing, and sometimes our preferences change. And so our style profile overall, our colors and other areas of our style, they need to evolve with us. So it's good to do a check-in about once a year. But once you have this color palette, it's a lighthouse really for your whole style journey, because you can refer back to it and say, okay, these are the colors in my closet. And I love to use the example, you can see my closet behind me. I do use a functional color palette. It's a winter color palette, and you can see that everything is in kind of the same general color scheme, and it all really goes together. And that's what this does, is it makes a really cohesive wardrobe for you. But it also reduces your decision fatigue, because you can walk in your closet in the morning and you don't have 50 colors to choose from. Maybe they match a pair of pants, maybe they don't. Maybe you have a cardigan that doesn't match anything else. That's gone, because you've streamlined it so well by choosing colors that are flattering for you and that go together really well. So you can just walk in, get dressed so much easier. It saves you so much money, because you're no longer buying these things like lavender just because they seemed interesting, because they're not really flattering for you. And it also is really helpful when it comes time to do a decluttering process, because you can go through your closet and you can find things that are not in your season. You can get rid of them really quickly, and it allows you to just systemize the process just using color. And that's why I say that even if you never do anything else, color analysis and adopting it into your wardrobe will truly change your style by 50%, because it affects every part of your style, and it can change so much for you, because your clothes at the end of the day are a reflection of who you are. They should be, ideally, the inner you coming to the outside, expressing who you are, communicating who you are without saying a word. And when you do that well, others can see it. And it really is a powerful form of building relationships, building connections, impacting others, when your external presentation matches who you are on the inside. I've loved using seasonal color analysis. It's probably one of the biggest parts of my business still to date. Everything from our virtual color analysis to the DIY color analysis, all of the different digital products that we have to support all of these things. It's just a huge part of what we do here, and it is the foundation of a style journey. It's the first place we start with everyone. And there's this, verse that says there's nothing new under the sun, and I believe that's true. Color analysis has been around for probably nearly 100 years at this point, and people have different takes on it and they do different things with it. But at the end of the day, it's still the same principle that color is a reflection of how you actually look, and you pick the best ones and move forward. I have studied over 20 different style theories working with clients, and I have also found, though, that style essence is just as impactful for your style as color. Color analysis and essence together is 90% of what you need to make big shifts in your personal style. And so I have been behind the scenes with my clients working on something new and kind of revolutionary in the field of color analysis. I've mentioned it before, but these are our color essence reports, which are a way of combining seasonal color analysis with Kitchener's style essence theory. And so here's just one example. And so here's just one kind of quick overview of what this looks like for one of my clients. We use color analysis. We use harmony-based color analysis and some other indicators to find the best colors using the 4-season system. And then we build on that with Style Essence, doing a personal essence mapping exercise. And in the process, we are developing 16 brand new, never before seen seasons to the market based on the combination of the 4-season system and the 7 style essences. Because one of the things that I've found over the years is that when it comes to these sort of systems and theories and assessments, we want to have a label. We want to be in a box. But when it comes to seasonal color analysis, people often find that something is off. And like I mentioned before, it's usually about the attributes being off. Maybe they're brighter than the typical soft summer or something like that. It's usually one little thing that's off. And so they find they're maybe I'm this or maybe I'm that, and they're really having a hard time. But I think it's because we're missing a piece. I think the piece that we're missing is the essence portion, because essence also speaks to what is already there. It's not a way of adopting a style that we want to have. Like maybe we say, oh, I love Kate Middleton's style, I'm going to adopt classic. It's not that. It's saying what is in the bone structure, what is in the natural expression of style, what is the underlying thread that kind of connects it all together. How does she naturally express herself? How does her body and bone structure and coloring come through in a way that is just inherent to who she is? And I think that bringing these two together really gives us a new way of looking at color analysis that provides a whole picture of who we are, a holistic process, if you will, that goes beyond just color or just essence and brings the two together in a really powerful way. These color essence reports are not currently available to the public. They are still in development, and we are doing that inside the Radiant Women Adventure, which is currently closed. But if you would like to join and get access to one of these color essence reports, you can join the waitlist at iamaradiantwoman.com. We would love to have you, and I will send you a free gift as well. And I know I've kind of talked on and on here about color analysis, but I truly am so... It's very exciting to me. I love to look at colors. People will tell me often if I'm on a call with them and I'm walking through colors and talking about colors that it's really just kind of a joy to watch me work, because I enjoy the process and it's fun for me. It's creative. I love to help women learn to express themselves through style and through color specifically. And this process truly has been life-changing. For me as well, it gave me the capsule wardrobe that I was looking for. It gave me the foundation for that. And I've helped my clients do the same thing with color. And I see amazing shifts in them as they're going through this process, learning to really trust their instincts, embrace their colors, just come alive in who they really are. So I would love to know, if you've done color analysis, what was your biggest aha moment? And if you haven't ever done color analysis, I would love to know, what is one color that makes you feel amazing? Because I also believe, as a final note, that we are all sort of naturally gravitating towards our season, because a lifetime of positive feedback and compliments and negative experiences in colors like lavender kind of let us know what colors really do look the best. So let me know, if you don't know your season, the one color that makes you look amazing, because I would challenge you that it's probably one that's really flattering for you. If you love this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.